All right, welcome back to the drive-through. We're going to do a voiceover here for a remix on our circles video. Okay, this is a tough piece of notes, so stay with this. Feel free to watch it twice. It's going to start off with our goal being to have you understand so that you don't have to memorize. You can actually come up with the equation of these circles. Okay. So hopefully this looks familiar. We've walked you through it before, and in order to understand it, the best thing we can do is come up with a good definition of a circle. Okay, can anyone do that? Ryan?
A set of points that are all equidistant.
Excellent. A circle is a set of points that are equidistant from a given point called the center. Okay? So just remember that's how a circle is formed. It's all the points in the world that are a fixed distance from a certain point. On a plane. I guess we should have put on a plane there. Keep in mind, now that I think about it, that red equation is actually the equation of a sphere, because we didn't indicate that it's on a plane. But it's okay. Okay? So, what we need to do is figure out how that definition meets up with the distance formula. So I'm going to start by writing down the distance formula. And hopefully you remember that the distance formula is just the difference of the x terms squared plus the difference of the y terms. Okay? Now, what do we call the distance from the circle to the center? What is that thing called? It's called the radius. So the first thing we're going to do to kind of get our way to this equation is we're going to change the d to an r. Okay? Now, the next thing we're going to do is kind of confusing, but we had to pick some letters that we hadn't already picked for other things. So we're going to call the center of the circle the point h, comma, k. Okay? Don't ask, because I don't know why they picked those letters. They hadn't been used is my answer. Okay? Now, what do we typically refer to any point as? X, comma, y. Excellent. We are going to keep those as x, comma, y. So look what we're going to do here. We're going to replace x2 and y1 with any point on the circle, which we will call x, comma, y. We're going to replace x1 and y1 with the center. So hopefully you can see how those two are closely related. The problem is, if you pop this into your graphing calculator, it would only give you the top of a circle. It would only give you the top of the circle. Anyone know why? It's excellent. It's only giving us the positive distances. So the way we get away with making it a complete circle, anyone know? Very good, Andy. We square both sides. And now, once we square both sides, this right here is the standard equation for a circle. Okay? Where r represents the what?
Radius.
The radius. And h, comma, k represents the center.
Not square root.
It's not. Okay, so I'll let you guys copy that down. We're going to do an easy example to get you feeling comfortable, and then we're going to do a very challenging example that reminds you how much algebra you have learned, and that'll be the end of the vid. Okay, so example 1. Find the equation of a circle whose center is at 5, comma, negative 2, and radius is 3. We just want to follow the standard equation. So x minus 5 squared plus y minus a negative 2, which we will turn into y plus 2 squared equals 9. Where will the mistakes come? No, we won't have to FOIL anything. People will forget to square the r, or they will turn around the negative and positive signs. Okay? One thing I want you to realize about something I had kind of taught you last week is that when you have a negative sign inside your parentheses, it does the opposite to the graph that you would think would happen. So normally x in the negative direction represents what kind of movement? In the x direction. Normally it would represent a leftward movement. Since that is inside the parentheses, it's a rightward movement, okay? Alright, here's the final example. Find to the nearest tenth the circumference of the circle. To find the circumference of the circle, we need to find the radius and then therefore the diameter. So really what our task is here is how can we make this equation look familiar so that we can write it like the equation of a circle and find the radius. Does that make sense? And what we're going to do that is called completing the square. So what do you notice about all those terms? Good. They're all divisible by 3, so we're going to divide by 3. That's going to make this easier to work with. You get x squared plus y squared plus 2x minus 6y is equal to 5. Now that still doesn't look like the equation of a circle. And I'll write the little x in on the 2. I forgot it there. So what we want to do is we want to do this process called completing the square so that we can make this left side look like that. Okay? So, how can we do that? We've just got to kind of fudge with the numbers, but we can do whatever we do to the left side, we just got to do to the right side. So, here's the trick. In order to complete the square, you take half of this term, and then you square it. So what's half of 2? And what's 1 squared? It is 1. So we are going to rewrite the left side as x squared plus 2x plus 1. Okay, now what's half of negative 6? And what's negative 3 squared? So then we're going to rewrite the left side as y squared minus 6y plus 9. But stay tuned, because if we don't do something to the right side, then we've done some illegal things. Okay? So there you see I'm adding in my plus 1. Now who can factor that? Ryan? It's x plus 1 times x plus 1. And what's x plus 1 times x plus 1? X plus 1 squared. Okay? Now it's starting to look like what we wanted to, but what have we failed to do? We need to add 1 to the right side. And there we go. Okay? So what are we going to fill in inside the parentheses with the y again? A plus 9, very good. How do you factor y squared minus 6y plus 9? Y minus 3 squared, excellent. That's y minus 3 times y minus 3, which is y minus 3 squared. And what do we have to add to the other side now? 9. Watch me add 3 like I would when I was in high school. And then I count myself real quick. Okay? So that leaves you with x plus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 15. I'm scrolling back up. Now, does that look more like what you want it to look like? So what's the radius? It's radical 15. Because remember, that equals r squared. So what's the diameter? We'll just call it 2 radical 15. They ask us to round our answer to the nearest tenth. So how do we find the circumference? Pi times 2 times radical 15. And that's like 23 point something, I think. Sorry, 24.3. Can I get a boom?
Boom.
Thank you.